Hey everybody, AC here, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Terrible Theory Saga. Um, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the possible DLC for Age of Calamity. Yes, it is very possible for the game to get DLC. Um, and I personally would like to think that it will. Maybe not this year, but I think that if it does get DLC, it might get it next year in March. I think that the DLC will come next year in March. Um, and the reason why I think this is next year in March is going to be the not only the 4-year anniversary of Breath of the Wild, but it's also going to be the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda series as a whole. And I think that that would be a good time to release DLC for Age of Calamity. Release DLC for Age of Calamity. What would this DLC entail? I think that if Age of Calamity gets DLC, it's going to be a DLC that takes place after Breath of the Wild and before Breath of the Wild 2. That it's basically the events that lead up to it. And it would most likely just be a handful of characters, possibly characters that are from Breath of the Wild, such as Tebe, Yonobo, Raiju, Sidon, Cass, um, Kilton, uh, Beetle, um, Paya, and Hetsu. Like, have all of them be different characters that you could play as in the DLC. And I think that we will be playing through maybe maybe three levels, something like that. Um, and I think the first mission is going to be uh, going to Zora's domain in order to give Mipha's father some closure, and to investigate why Varuta has stopped working. Because we do learn at the end of Breath of the Wild that it has stopped working, so we got to find out exactly what's going on there. So I think that that's going to be kind of the first mission. Is you're going to be finding your way towards Zora's domain and Varuta, in order to fix it. Or maybe you get there, and the battlefield is from Zora's domain to the top of the cliff where Varuta is stationed. I think it's gonna be one of those two things. That's gonna be the first mission, and I think that the second mission will be a fight as you make your way towards Kakariko. A fight as you make your way towards Kakariko Village, and once you make your way towards Kakariko Village, Zelda and Impa reunite, and then Impa will tell Zelda, "Hey, something's going on. I've sensed a disturbance. Something is happening in this area. Go there, go there. There's something underground. I can sense that something is going on underneath the surface of Hyrule." And so Link and Zelda then make their way to that specific area, fight their way to it, and it ends with them entering the underground cavern that we see in the trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. It ends with them entering it. I think that this DLC is going to be a little mini story to fill in the gap between Breath of the Wild 1 and Breath of the Wild 2. I do believe that there is going to be a DLC that's going to tell that story. and that we might get all these other characters. Maybe the DLC is more than just 3 levels. Maybe we actually get like 6 levels, and the other 3 levels are going to be going to Rito Village, Gerudo Town, and Goron City, where we will meet up with the other 3 new champions, and they will become the new champions in the DLC. So this could be a good like six, maybe 7 if they decide to go to the Lost Woods and say hi to the Great Deku Tree and Hetsu. This could be like a good 3 to 7 mission. This DLC could be a good 3 to 7 missions long. It would simply just be a way to fill in the gap between Breath of the Wild 1 and 2, because Breath of the Wild 2 was supposed to be a DLC. It was supposed to be DLC 3 for Breath of the Wild, but they had so many ideas and so many things they wanted to do with it that it eventually became its own thing. It became its own game. But you still need to fill in the gap of what happened between 1 and 2. I think that that's what Age of Calamity is going to do. I think it's going to have DLC that's going to fill in that gap. But I admit that does seem to a little far fetched at the moment. It does seem like a bit of a stretch right now, as we have not seen anything about the game that would indicate that it is going to get DLC. However, there are only so many characters you can include in this game, and there's only so many missions that you can have in this game. Given the story and the lore and how it's keeping within the lore of Breath of the Wild, there's only so many missions and so many characters that you can actually do and you can have. So I think a good way to add more missions and more characters to give the game more replayability is to have a DLC that fills in the gap. So I do think that they will do this, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to be next year to get people hyped for Breath of the Wild 2 and for Zelda's 35th anniversary. I think it's going to be. I think the DLC is going to happen next year. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there's going to be DLC to this game, or do you think it's just going to be a self-contained little experience with only a handful of characters and missions to do? I personally don't think it's going to be that, because that wouldn't feel like it'd be worth my money. I'm going to buy it. Because Zelda. But there wouldn't really be much point in going back to it after beating it once. It wouldn't really have much replayability value. So that's why I'm very convinced that there's going to be a DLC of some kind. Some new characters, some new missions, some new outfits or skins, weapons, all that stuff. I think that's going to be. I think some of that stuff is going to be added into the game next year, around the time of the 35th anniversary of Zelda. So if you guys believe that, if you guys think the same thing I think, please let me know in the comment box below. If there's something else that you think they might end up doing to give the game more replayability, let me know in the comment box below. I'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts on what they could possibly do to make this more enjoyable and more replayable for all of us. But that's gonna do it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.